Hey, what's going on, guys? So the question this video wants to answer, which is a question we get all the time, is Gilbert, Arizona a wealthy area? Let's get right into it. All right, so if you're researching and looking at different areas around the Phoenix metro area, one that comes up a lot is Gilbert, Arizona. A question we get, especially when you start digging into home prices, is Gilbert a wealthy area? We're gonna go through and talk about a couple of different things along that line to kind of give you an idea of what it costs to actually live in Gilbert. So let's get right into that. All right, so the question about Gilbert's wealth, really it depends on who you're asking, right? There's people who've lived in Gilbert a very long time, and there's other people, which is most of them, who haven't really lived here that long. I'm talking, 10, 15, 20 years. Sure, you'll find some people, a lot of people that can say that. But if you were here in Gilbert 30, 40 years ago, Gilbert's not recognizable in, today's world compared to what it was back then. Gilbert really started off as, a farming community far outside of the Phoenix metro area. As Chandler grew, Gilbert grew right after it. And now today you're gonna find a humongous number of beautiful neighborhoods that are extremely desirable. You've got shopping, you've got hospitals, you've got restaurants, you've got entertainment, parks, recreation centers, you name it, it's here. So let's kind of talk about a couple of those real quick. So as far as kind of economic indicators of is Gilbert a wealthy area, let's just talk about average household incomes real quick. So in Gilbert, the median, meaning the middle income, is about $105,000 a year per household. That means that half the people in Gilbert, or I should say half the households in Gilbert, make more than $105,000 a year, and half of them make less than that. If we say the average, I think it's a little bit higher actually, because some people at the very high end of wealth will skew that income number a little bit higher, but the median, $105,000 a year. What's surprising to a lot of people, that's actually higher than the median income of Scottsdale. Scottsdale is typically considered that, in Paradise Valley, or typically considered the most high-end areas of the Phoenix metro. And don't get me wrong, beautiful, beautiful. I love Scottsdale, I love PV. But here in Gilbert, it surprises a lot of people that the median income of Gilbert is actually higher than that of Scottsdale. So talking about jobs and job opportunities, Gilbert has a large number actually of high-end companies. You've got software such as GoDaddy. You've got healthcare such as Banner Health and Dignity Health, which both operate, hospitals and clinics and employ lots and lots of people. Deloitte, which is one of the big four accounting firms, they have a large office for business services here in Gilbert as well. Northrop Grumman's also a really large company that has a pretty good sized footprint here in Gilbert, also in Chandler and Mesa, really the whole Phoenix Valley. Northrop Grumman's a big part of the economy here. Isogenics, it's based here in Gilbert. They're a large healthcare type, like a supplement company. If you've never heard of them, go ahead and Google them. Beautiful, huge office right off the 202 loop. And what you'll really find is a lot of Gilbert residents work from home, whether that be sales or software, coders. They own businesses that span other areas. A personal friend of ours, they are tied with Home Depot, and they run a large number of subsidiary like installer companies across the West Coast. They call Gilbert home, although their work doesn't actually happen here. So that's an example of a lot of business owners who actually live in Gilbert, even though their work may physically be somewhere, else. So talking about housing prices, Gilbert has definitely increased significantly over the last several years, along with Maricopa County and the state of Arizona in general. But anyway, the average, or I should say the median, like middle priced home in Gilbert, you're talking almost $600,000. I think let me write it down here. $565,000 is the median current price. That means that half of the homes sold are going to be higher than that, and half are going to be less than that. The reality is, your larger, family homes are typically going to be higher than that, and if you're less, you're talking, smaller townhomes, the condos that exist, but you get a lot of smaller townhouses, things like that, that are under that price point. The median home price of $565,000 here in Gilbert is actually about 20% higher than that of the entire Maricopa County. So yeah, we're definitely talking one of the more expensive areas of the valley to live in. And if you're kind of doing some math and looking at homes on Zillow or on our website, which is phoenixareahome.com, and by the way, you can check that out and look at that. There should be a link below as well, but average about $275 a square foot if you're kind of calculating ballpark what's a home going to cost. So if you're looking for a 2,500 square foot home times 275, that'll give you a nice ballpark number of kind of where you should be at. Obviously, there's different things that can increase that or decrease that depending on, the neighborhood, amenities, the age of the home, things like that. But kind of give you an idea of the cost of homes. And look, on this YouTube channel, there's a bunch of other videos that talk about some of the more desirable neighborhoods, and there's a lot of them. But we touched on Morrison Ranch, Agritopia. You can check out Seville, Power Ranch, and even some older neighborhoods like Val Vista Lakes. These are all really beautiful, very well-regarded neighborhoods that are very desirable and people want to live in them. The reality is when homes come up for sale, they don't stick around very long in the majority of these neighborhoods. And on that note, real quick guys, that's why you should definitely give us a call, shoot us an email, or send us a quick text message. Days, nights, weekends, if you are moving or relocating here to Gilbert or anywhere else in the Phoenix area, make sure you pick up the phone, make that call, send that text, send a quick email. We got your back. Give us a call. So kind of talking a little bit more about the wealth of Gilbert, like I said, it depends on who you're asking, but if you're kind of just driving around and looking around, there's I just checked online a little bit ago, but there's over 138 restaurants just in Gilbert. We're not talking about Chandler or Queen Creek or Mesa, which all surround Gilbert. Just Gilbert, lots and lots of places to choose from to go out to eat. So if you went out twice a week, it would take you over a year to check out every single restaurant in the area. And of course, there's always new ones coming on. So if you're a big foodie, you're not gonna run out of places to spend your money and go out to eat, especially if you're willing to drive into Chandler or Queen Creek or, certain parts of Mesa are definitely great to check out as well. When it comes to shopping, a good indicator of an area's wealth are, what does the disposable income places look like? Meaning the shopping mall. Is it kind of old, run down, empty, not a lot of things going on? Or is it, high capacity, all of the stores are leased out? Yeah, if you drive around Santan Village, that's kind of the main core area of Gilbert where you're gonna find Topgolf, Main Event, Santan Village outdoor shopping mall, which has several anchor tenants like a Dillard's and a Macy's, and you've got, dozens and dozens and dozens of really, well, I have to see, maybe even over 100, I have to check, but lots and lots of shops to go check out in our Living in Gilbert video, which is a separate video on this channel. At the end of this, you can click on it and go there. I would definitely recommend you check that video out to get an idea of what that actually looks like. So that begs the question again, is Gilbert a wealthy area? Well, if you drive around any of these areas, nothing is not busy. It's always busy with people out enjoying themselves, entertaining their friends and family who might be visiting out of town. Honestly, unless it's very, very hot on a summer day in July or August, you're not gonna find places very empty. It's busy, people have disposable income. And like I said earlier in this video, as of 2023, the median income of Gilbert is $105,000 per year per household, which means that there's a lot of folks that make significantly more than that, and they're definitely enjoying and spending, that's just the reality of living in Gilbert and enjoying, that type of lifestyle. All right, so schools, one of the things to kind of look at and gauge the wealth of an area, is how well are the schools? Are they funded well? Do they test, do the scores look good? Greatschools.org has usually got some really good data, and I wrote down kind of what they had to say about Gilbert public schools themselves. I mean, just personally living around here and interacting with people, regard their schools and their teachers really well. I mean, I think it's a national pastime at this point to complain about how terrible schools are and, berate the teachers or, there's a lot of negativity out there. I think at the end of the day though, Gilbert schools, with the resources they have, they tend to do a fantastic job. Most people that I talk to are, decently happy with the way things are and the way things are set up and the engagement their children are getting. My kids are too young to know, and so I don't have any personal experience with that yet. But according to greatschools.org, and I wrote it down here, so Gilbert Unified School District, the public school system, they've got 41 schools in total with 7 different high schools. You can kind of click around and check out which schools are better. So if you've got kids and you're moving here, if being really close to a particular school is important to you, make sure you give us a call and let us know which school it is that you want to be in, and we can kind of help figure out, which home is going to be best for you so that you can make sure your kiddos go to the exact school that you would like them to go to. Of course, we have charter schools, which is a very different system from what most people are used to outside of Arizona. Charter schools are basically private schools funded with public money. So basically, there are schools that exist around here. Legacy Charter Schools is one of the more popular ones that are larger. They have a larger footprint, more locations. But if you apply and your children get in, basically the tax dollars that would have been going to a public school get redirected towards the charter school. And so a lot of parents really like that concept and that system. It's not for everybody, but if that's something that's important to you, maybe do a little bit more research, or you can just reach out to us and ask us a little bit more about how it works with you. One of the agents on our team can also explain a little bit more about which charter schools are where, and we can kind of help direct your attention to different neighborhoods that might be close to, a certain school that's important to you in that way. And of course, the private school route, there's definitely definitely private school options. Most of them I think are religious based. You can do your research and Google, which of those, might be important to you if that's something that you guys are looking for. I don't have any personal experience with particular private schools, so I can't give any personal opinion on that, but I know that they exist and that you can, very quickly and easily Google Gilbert, Arizona private schools, and there's websites that'll explain all the different options, who's who, what's what, how they rank them, definitely easy to do. So lastly, as far as education is concerned and wealth being the topic of this video, almost 50% of all adults in Gilbert have a college degree of some kind. Obviously, there's a lesser percent that have like a graduate or PhD degree, but 46% of Gilbert adults have a college degree, and we can compare that to just 34% for Maricopa as a whole. Long story short, Gilbert is a very highly educated area. Basically, half of all of the adults in the community are college graduates, and so that kind of helps explain a little bit about why incomes tend to be a little bit higher than, well, a lot higher actually, than the Maricopa County average. All right, so recreational facilities, seriously, doesn't matter where you live in Gilbert, you're not going to be without. So Gilbert invests very, very heavily in its parks. There's parks and recreation centers and splash pads, swimming pools, you name it, it's out there. In fact, I think the best resource if you really are interested in how many different parks the town of Gilbert has is just go to Google and type in Gilbert, Arizona Parks and Rec. You'll find their website. It lists out all the parks they have, the splash pads, the pools. One of my favorite ones, which we also highlighted in another video called Our Living in Gilbert, it's called Gilbert Regional Park. It's more on the south end of Gilbert, and so you're gonna wanna definitely check that one out. Most of the year, it's super busy, fun, exciting, huge park. Even in the summertime, which I showed in that video, in the other video, the splash pad's super busy in the summer, keeping little kiddos cool, there's shade to hang out. Park's even better during, the other 8-9 months of the year when we have the most beautiful, perfect temperatures here ever. So another thing that actually a lot of people I'm surprised of don't realize or don't know is the bicycle paths. There's almost 150 miles of bicycle paths and roads designated for bicycles in the area. Of those, about 50 miles, so about a third of them are like completely separate from, car traffic. So we're talking along the canals, and there's actually a map on the Gilbert's website that will kind of walk you through where all the maps are, or if you're a Google Map fan, you can select bicycle tours. So if you want to see, a particular house or neighborhood, and then go into downtown Gilbert or going over to Santan Village or Topgolf, you can map out how to get there via bicycle, and I think you're gonna be really surprised at how many different ways there are. And it's really cool that all these side paths exist that are along the canals, especially because it's so nice to be able to escape the traffic and the cars and just go bicycling. And that's one of my favorite things actually about living here, especially, get up in the middle of December or January. It might be a little bit chilly in the morning, but chilly, of course, is still above freezing if you're coming from a cold weather place. But definitely, that crisp, clear air. It's not like the coast in California where you have that gray, morning, misty kind of feel. Like typically, first thing in the morning, bright blue skies, hit the bicycle, go for your workout, play with the kids. Definitely a really cool thing about living in Gilbert. And to that note, Chandler, Queen Creek, and even into Mesa, these bicycle paths extend all over the entire East Valley area. Now, if you're kind of more curious about, the wealth of an area, well, wealthy people like to spend money on things and entertainment and fun stuff. Well, Gilbert is typically more, I'd say, like, if I kind of just generalize Gilbert, obviously we have some great shopping and great, family-friendly events, but when you're wanting to go to the big league events, professional sports, things like that, you're gonna have to leave Gilbert, and that's fine because that's all out in Phoenix or, Tempe, or you've got, the NASCAR track out in Goodyear, down south of there. But my point is that every single professional sports team that it kind of exists, every sport there is has a professional team in the area. We can go to those. You've got big name concerts regularly, multiple comedy clubs. As far as cultural events, entertainment, things like that, if it's not in Gilbert, which we do have the Hale Theater, there's other, more local performing arts centers, but, within a 45 minute maximum drive, you basically have access to everything that the huge, Phoenix metropolitan area has to offer. So there's never a dull shortage, there's never a dull moment. If you want something to do and you're bored, there's a million websites that will show you all of the events that are going on, and there's always something to do. And by the way, if you are thinking about moving, relocating here, one of the quick things I want to mention is Meetup. It's an app on your phone, and if you're wanting to get involved with other people who also just moved here, or you want to get together, one of my favorite things that I did personally in Gilbert is Oso Brewery, so OSHO, they're downtown Gilbert. They have a get together. You bring your dogs, and so if you're a beer drinker, even if you're not a beer drinker, they've got other stuff, but you get together with the dogs, hang out, network, and mingle. Everybody loves dogs, so if you're a dog person, that's one of my recommended things, to go meet other dog lovers and dog owners, and have a drink while you're at it, talk with your neighbors. We've personally, my wife and I have made multiple friends through that little connection, and so little tip, get the Meetup app, kind of see what's going on in the area, and you'll really like that one. So just want to touch on one other thing as far as communities going, community events and things like that. Volunteer opportunities, yeah, there's going to be plenty of that. So if you're not working full time and you want to get out and about and have things to do, other than just meet up and getting together with other people, go to volunteeropportunities.org, search Gilbert, and there's a huge list of different volunteer opportunities that you can apply for. Some, obviously, especially if you're working with children or in the hospitals, things like that, there's kind of a process. But if you're looking for something to help contribute and just keep yourself busy and productive and useful, right? There's definitely a lot of opportunities for that. If you're not sure, give us a call, shoot us an email, send a text message. Let me know what you're into, and if that website doesn't have it, I'll definitely talk to my connections and people to help connect you with somebody who can definitely answer those questions or provide like an outlet for whatever hobby or interest it is that you're into. So it shouldn't be too difficult. But long story short, to answer the question at the beginning of this video, is Gilbert a wealthy area? Well, if you're just basing it purely on dollars, yes, absolutely. It's definitely a higher than average income area. It's a higher than average educated area. Going out to eat and different shows and things like that, it's kind of what you'd expect anywhere. I will say though that, politically, Gilbert definitely skews more conservative. It's more family oriented. There's definitely a big push to be a family friendly neighborhood and atmosphere. That's, I don't know, I'd say it's part of the core value of kind of the town and what everybody is trying to accomplish. They want to have a family friendly environment. That's not to say that if you're a single professional, you're not going to enjoy Gilbert, but it is to say that the town of Gilbert definitely puts families and family friendly activities up on a high pedestal, and they very much promote that and push that type of an environment. So if that's the kind of environment you're looking for, and you love, to be in a very friendly, clean, safe environment, Gilbert definitely has all of that going on for it. So if now you're comparing options and you start off with, say, Scottsdale, I'm telling you what, multiple people that have called us, they started searching in Scottsdale, and somehow or another, Gilbert came up on their radar. 10, 15, 20 years ago, nobody would really, I shouldn't say nobody, but a lot of people that were initially considering Scottsdale, that's going to be their only option. We're going to Scottsdale, period. No. Well, Gilbert and Chandler, for that matter, have definitely changed a lot over the last 10 years, especially as far as the economy and the kinds of employers that are here. It still has this, to an extent, this cowboy farm community reputation, and they try to maintain that as far as the family-friendly nature, wholeheartedness type of environment. But the reality of the situation is, it's a grown city. It's got lots and lots and lots of neighborhoods, things to do, entertainment. It's not a farming community. It's not a farming community anymore, but they definitely try to hold on to that, those core values and that foundational type of, attitude towards the way people should live and want to live. So if that's the kind of environment that's attractive to you, definitely Gilbert's going to be a good move for you. So long story short, go right here and click one of these videos, wherever that button is on your phone or tablet, or if you're watching on a TV screen, you might want to grab your remote control right now and hit the button. But we've got a whole playlist of other Gilbert videos. Check those out and give us a call, shoot us an email, or send us a text message. And until the next video, guys, catch you on the next one. See ya.